Fantasy football is about choices. Will it be James's expertise?
He's going to be the only guy on the field to get the ball. He's a 3-down workhorse to get the ball.
Or Chris's insights?
But even if they trade him, I still don't think they're going to become a run-first team.
The choice is in your hands. We give you the option.
What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Nick. Today we are talking about quarterbacks. Who will succeed? Some quarterback battles. Can we trust them? Let's just head right into it. Our first topic of the day is going to the second overall draft pick this year, Zach Wilson from the Jets. Is Zach Wilson set up to succeed this year in the NFL? The Jets recently brought in Tevin Coleman, Kenan Cole, and Corey Davis, as well as drafting Elijah Moore and Michael Carter. Do we think he is set up to succeed?
Yes, Nick, I believe that Zach Wilson is set up to succeed in the New York Jets. As crazy as that sounds, from the history that we have from the New York Jets, from Mark Sanchez butt fumble
Jets
to
succeed.
Sam Darnold getting mono. Like, it's just a whirlwind of quarterback issues there in New York. They have upgraded their core from last season. They added Elijah Vera Tucker to a line that already involves Mekhi Becton. They drafted a running back that had good success in college in Michael Carter, and they brought in Corey Davis as a free agent. Probably one of their better undervalued wide receivers that they picked up in the draft, Elijah Moore, who I'm very big on going into the year, as are many others. That core of Becton, Vera Tucker, Michael Carter, and Elijah Moore, plus the guy that is already there in Denzel Mims, is 23 years old or younger. They will all grow together, plus Corey Davis, who is 26. All that with the fact that they brought in a coaching regime that will only be an upgrade with Robert Saleh and Michael LaFleur, who is coming from the Shanahan coaching tree, a former QB himself, and a passing game coordinator in San Francisco, who in 2020 ranked 13th in total passing offense, with Nick Mullins at the helm most of the time. Look for LaFleur to take the accuracy, the decisive playmaking abilities of Zach Wilson to the next level in the NFL. They've studied all the quarterbacks coming in. They knew that he was going to be the guy for them. Out of the QBs taken in the first round, Zach Wilson is behind Lance, that I think are set up for success at the next level. To me, Lance is probably the one that's set up the best going to San Francisco. Then it's Zach Wilson. You just have to hope the kid from Utah doesn't melt under the lights of New York City.
Well said, sir. Hearing all of what you just said and hearing how you put that together, it sounds fantastic. It really does. The only thing is, I'm not sure. I just don't see it the full way you do. And I'm just going to ask you a few questions, break some things down with me as we go through this, okay?
Let's do it.
You mentioned the wide receiver core.
Mm-hmm.
What have they done lately? Corey Davis had one good year so far out of the 4 years that he was in Tennessee. He was drafted as a wide receiver one. Obviously isn't a wide receiver one. It wasn't until A.J. Brown got there that he turned into the better wide receiver he was. And even some of the years before that, he still wasn't. I mean, is he good enough to be the wide receiver one on this team to lead them somewhere? I'm not 100% sure. He could be. He still scares me a little bit. I mean, even though he had a good year last year and they gave him 4 years, a lot of money. The other thing that scared me was he said that he signed there because he was supposed to be playing with Sam Darnold, and we know how that turned out. So that also is,
well, he's going to be a lot happier with Zach Wilson.
I would assume so, but I mean, we'll get to that later. But then, you got Mims, who didn't do much last year. Obviously, because of the system and everything like that. I get that they weren't a very good team. A lot of people didn't. Crowder was okay. He still put up some numbers when he wasn't hurt. But again, these are not number one legitimate stars that can hopefully help a rookie quarterback do what he's got to do. They're trying to find themselves too. And then the running game, you got Michael Carter, who's coming in, who's supposed to be good. Again, he's a rookie. You don't know what he is or not is.
Well, you do know, if you've watched him in college, you do know he's a 1,000-yard rusher who played in a split backfield.
Yeah, in
with
college he
Javonte
was,
Williams.
but we don't know what he's going to do in the NFL yet. He hasn't touched the NFL field yet.
Well,
For
you
all
can
we
tell
know,
what
he runs
is.
once
you
and
can
gets
watch
hurt.
the tape and tell what kind of
you
runner
have
he is.
no idea. Yeah, you're hoping he
I
is,
have
but
an
you have
idea.
no idea.
I have an
Okay.
idea.
Elijah Moore. I've heard Elijah Moore could be the next Antonio Brown. I know you're very high on him. I saw some great tape. He looks fantastic. I mean, this guy looks like he should be that guy. Again, we still don't know. And he still has to mesh with Wilson to become that guy. There's a lot of unknowns there. And then on top of that, the coaching staff, like you mentioned, Mike LaFleur, I believe it is. This is his first time calling plays. So I don't know what kind of offense he's going to put out there, how well or how bad that's going to be. Like it's just so much of the unknowns for me to say he's in a spot to succeed. It looks great on paper. It looks like, yes, this should be something good for the Jets fans. And I hope for them, because I really feel bad for Jets fans. I don't see it yet. That's all. I do hope that like, there's pieces there that seem like, yes, it should be. But I just don't know if it fully is there yet for him. And I don't think he'll have a great year this year, but maybe in a couple of years he might.
So you're a see it and believe it guy, and I'm a look into the future, break down the tape, and look into the past guy.
That's usually how we go, Chris. That's usually it.
I get it.
I mean, I think the biggest thing right now is that, there's no Adam Gase anymore. So quarterbacks are aimed to...
Hey, shh. We'll talk about that soon.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Let's stick with the Jets quarterback trend right now. And let's talk about two of them. The ex-Jets quarterback, Sam Darnold, who went to Carolina. And again, Zach Wilson in New York. Which one do you think will have a better fantasy season?
All right. Well, since Nick kind of stole my thunder there, but I'm going to give you 3 words as to who's going to have the better fantasy season. Post-Gase effect. And that is going to be Sam Darnold. If we go back in through the past of everybody who's left Adam Gase and the numbers they've put up when Adam Gase wasn't there, Nick, our stat guy, can you please give me some numbers of some players that after Adam Gase, what they did afterwards, please?
Yeah. So, quarterback Ryan Tannehill set career highs in touchdowns with 22 and completion percentage with 70.3%. Kenyon Drake set career highs with 817 rushing yards and 10 total starts. And Devontae Parker set career highs in receptions at 72, receiving yards at 1,202, and touchdowns at 9, while averaging 71.1 yards per game.
On top of that, there was Jarvis Landry. There's other players. The list just goes on. Everyone that leaves Gase turns into dynamite afterwards. So
I think Tannehill was more
that,
Joe Philbin than Gase, and the fact that he played at an average pace than it was Gase. I mean, Gase did play with Peyton Manning, so there's that as well.
Yeah,
And
no,
we all
he
know
did. He
how
had some.
Peyton
And
Manning
he's
did.
supposed to be the quarterback whisperer. I get it. He's supposed to be
And
that
he was
guy,
with Matt
100%.
Ryan, so.
Yeah, he was. He was with some good ones, and then he's had some bad ones, and then look what happened. I'm just, there's just some points to show that some others.
Blaming it on Gase, but I think it's more the player.
It's not totally Gase. That whole team was a disaster.
Gase effect
The
is
whole
you
team.
blaming it on Gase.
But part of that is going to be the reason why he's going to do better. Yes, without Gase, he's going to flourish. He's going into Carolina. He's going to do a lot better than he did before. Another reason is weapons. Just like we just spoke about the weapons that Wilson is going to have, that you think are going to have, he has legitimate weapons in Carolina. CMC, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, his old buddy. Nick, what were the stats that he and Robbie Anderson put up together?
Darnold and Anderson combined for 1,531 yards and 11 touchdowns on 102 catches. Numbers that helped prosper Anderson to his current 2-year deal of $20 million with the Panthers.
So change of scenery, he's now in a nice place, and he's in a winning mentality, which he wasn't with the Jets. All of these reasons put together are why he is going to be better than Wilson by the end of season.
You bring up some good stuff there, but I don't think that Sam Darnold is ultimately going to finish better than Zach Wilson at the end of the year when it comes to fantasy points at the QB position. If you take anything that I said in the last segment on whether or not Zach Wilson was built for success, you would agree with me that the Jets are built better than the Panthers as of right now. The Panthers' offense will run through McCaffrey, therefore limiting the volume of passing work that Sam Darnold will see in the 2021
Not if he's
season.
tipping the ball off to him on passes.
Those
are all
the
yards.
Only advantage,
a little 2-yarder turns into an 85-yarder for a touchdown.
The offensive line is not as good
points
this year in Carolina, but we'll see how it goes. The only advantage Darnold has over Wilson is the experience, but in turn, that might be something that could hurt Darnold in the long run because like you, James, I believe due to him being in New York and his experience with Crazy Eyes, Adam Gase, Sam Darnold also sleeps with a weighted blanket on so he can feel safe. The Panthers didn't give up a whole lot.
As long as he's not seeing ghosts, we're okay.
Another one. Thank you. Another one. Given the fact that the Panthers didn't give up a whole lot to get their starter, Nick, can you bring up that trade for me, please?
Yeah, it was a 2021 sixth and a 2022 second and fourth.
So given the fact that they didn't give up a whole lot to get the guy, I think that he's going to have a short leash this season. I'm not too sure who the backup is in Carolina, but there's a good shot that he might end up playing.
Doesn't matter. He's not going in.
He was a successful QB coming out of USC, but he fizzled and he failed to disappoint in his 3 short years with the Jets. But the fact that Wilson has a better O-line, better receiving options around him, and the Jets will most likely be playing from behind.
He doesn't have better receiving options.
End of the year, I'm predicting
No
Wilson's
way. Are you kidding me? I'd rather DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson any day of the week
Zach
right
Wilson.
now. Come on. You're talking about rookies who haven't done anything. And Corey Davis who has one good year.
Rookies never done anything.
Have they?
Not the NFL. I mean, they can't do anything right now. But
right. So how can you say that they're better than the ones that are already established?
They won't be far off each other, but ultimately Wilson will have the better year in fantasy.
No way. He's got the players. He's going to do better.
To me, the one factor that might bring Sam Darnold over the edge is Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator in Carolina. But I don't know. I don't think he's got it.
Darnold, all the way.
All the way.
All right. I'm definitely...
Well, over Wilson, not all the way as better quarterback. Okay. Let's just establish that.
I'm definitely excited to see which of those two quarterbacks does do better. It can honestly go either way. But you know what? Let's head into our next one. We're talking about 2 quarterbacks who have both found new teams this year. One being Matthew Stafford, who is on the LA Rams, and the other being Carson Wentz, who is in Indianapolis. Which of these quarterbacks are going to have a better fantasy season? What do you guys think?
This one's tricky to me, as I believe both will have good fantasy years. I'm high on both coming into the year. But out of the two, the Rams are going to want Stafford to sling that rock. They have been foiled by Jared Goff in the past and his inabilities to make certain throws. Nick, can you give me the deep ball percentages between Matt Stafford and Jared Goff for their careers, please?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not fair. Don't compare those two guys.
Those are who were the last quarterbacks.
No, I don't want to compare that. That makes him look way better.
Percentages. Matt Stafford was at 17%, ranked first, and Jared Goff was at 9%, ranked 31st in deep passing, 20-plus yards this past season. Stafford had 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Goff had 4 touchdowns and 6 interceptions.
Okay, but wait, I thought we were comparing Stafford to Wentz, not Stafford to Goff. What's going on here? Hold on. Why are you giving those notes? You're making them look better.
But I'm giving the comparison just based on
okay, well, I'm going to compare Wentz to the backup quarterback so I can compare. Hold on.
Yeah, it's not the backup quarterback.
That's what Goff should be.
Now that McVay has a QB that he has wet dreams about, look for the Rams to be a top 5 offensive scoring team this upcoming season. Wentz, to me, should have should finish at least as a top 15 QB, but the history of the Colts tells me that they will be playing a lot of run it down your throat, make you say uncle style of football. When you think of the Los Angeles, you think hot, flashy, rich, style, all these adjectives that the Rams are going to adapt into their offense. When you think of Indy, you think hardworking, blue collar, cold, middle class, and that's right where Wentz is going to end up, ultimately giving Stafford the better fantasy season coming into the year.
Interesting. So I'll agree with you at that. Yes, I like both quarterbacks. I think Stafford should have a good year. But I just want to go back to, I think, episode 1 when we were talking about Akers versus CH, and you were telling me all the running that Akers was going to do over there, and now you're telling me all the throwing that Stafford's going to do. They can't do both. They're gonna.
I did say that Stafford was gonna throw it to Akers to
Oh,
run.
okay. I mean, I just trying to figure out exactly which way you're going here, but that's okay.
I'm
I'm going to say why I think Wentz is going to be finishing better than Stafford. So let's get into that. I'm not going to compare Wentz to a backup quarterback either, just so I need to make his numbers higher. I'm just going to talk about how he is. So for one thing, I'm just going to go with this song that I like. It's called Reunited, and it feels so good. Because Wentz is I'm sorry too, by the way. That was good.
I'm so sorry. Please don't stop listening.
Wentz is reuniting with his favorite coordinator, Frank Reich. And when he was there with Reich in Philadelphia, he finished as a top 5 fantasy quarterback. He almost won MVP that year. He was unbelievable. And he is going back to where he knows what to do with the coordinator.
Is Frank Reich the coordinator in Indy?
He isn't the coordinator, but he is helping out.
Scheme.
It's okay. He is helping out with them so that he can put him back to where he needs to be. He will help out, and he will help the scheme out. Don't worry, he will. I know he's not the lead guy. That's all right, but and so Wentz has put up QB1 type numbers before.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Nick, can you give me the numbers and the percentages he's put up before?
Yeah.
These are good numbers.
Wentz has put up quarterback 1 type numbers in 44.1% of his games in his career. This ranks him as the 16th best quarterback over the last 15 years.
And Wentz was doing that with what wide receivers? Because we know the Philadelphia wide receivers haven't been great, the ones that have come in and out.
Not very many.
I don't think they had many. No, I mean, Alshon Jeffrey was probably their best in the last little bit.
Deshaun Jackson.
What was he? It was a deep guy that you would throw the ball and hope that he would go get something. I mean, he wasn't. Have you ever drafted Deshaun Jackson as number 1 overall?
Yes. Number 1 overall? Like
top
101?
10 overall? Have you ever drafted him top
receiver?
10 overall? A top 10 wide receiver? I don't think so. No. So, I mean, he doesn't have any of that. Right now, the weapons that he has in Indianapolis, he's got Jonathan Taylor, which you mentioned, the run game. Yes, that's the only thing that kind of scares me a little bit. He's got T.Y. Hilton coming back. He's got Michael Pittman, Paris Campbell. He's got a better offensive line than he had in Philadelphia, which is going to keep him upright. I mean, the sky's the limit for them. They're already a Super Bowl contender as long as he can play to what they're hoping he did in 2017. And if he did that, that was a MVP type season, and he was one of the top 5 quarterbacks. He has the team, he has everything set up for him to be a top 5 quarterback again. Just the question is his mind there? And I hope it is this season because I drafted him in a few leagues, and I think he will outdo Stafford by end of season.
So are you making the hot take right now that Carson Wentz is going to go back to the old Carson Wentz that we saw?
With authority, I'll say yes.
All right. And where are you ranking him roughly?
That's too hot of a take.
In ADP, in finishing the season. What position?
I think I'm in.
You just said top 5.
I said he could finish top 5. Yes,
let him hold him to that.
Hold him to that. I will say on record that he will finish.
Can we get a clip of that?
QB9.
We'll get a clip. QB9, but you said top 5.
He won't be top 5. He'll finish QB9. But he's got the ceiling to go to top 5.
Okay, all right. Very interesting. I mean, I hope, you're right. I hope Carson Wentz does succeed in this new team, this new format, especially with those younger kids like Michael Pittman and all that. But you know what? Let's get into our last topic of the day. Is the Russell Wilson trade drama over with? Or is he potentially going to be traded during the year? And do you guys think that these rumors are going to affect his season, his fantasy output? What do we think about all this different trade rumors about Russell Wilson and all this different talk?
Good question, Nick. This one's a tough one. It's I mean, how could this stuff not affect you? There's already stuff on out there in the Twitter world going on that Russell's saying he never asked for a trade, that never happened. All these things like that. So you really don't know who to believe or who not. But I mean, it's already starting now. You already saw the rumors. He was almost apparently traded to Chicago to Chris. Do you remember all the different areas he was going? There was a few different places that they were saying that he was going to be traded to, right? So
yeah, there's a tons of packages that were put out.
He hates his offensive line.
Like he said
because he doesn't have one.
He said he didn't want to get traded, but then he said that the list that came out was the team.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, like it's got to be up there on his head. There's no way it can't be. Look how he finished the season. Like, it wasn't a very good finish. I mean, and that's probably still in his head too. So to me, yeah, it's there. Could he still be traded this season? I don't know. A lot of the teams already got a quarterback, so unless there's an injury, I don't really see a trade right now. It'll probably have to be something again next season. But if they don't make the playoffs and this team isn't really good by end of season, I mean, yeah, I could see them trading him in the offseason or at the draft. Again, this whole thing all over again. I don't see him finishing his career in Seattle, to be honest with you, because I don't think they're good enough to continue.
Yeah, I definitely don't see a trade going down during the season. It's just not something that really happens in the NFL, especially at the quarterback spot, especially with a guy like Russell Wilson's stature that he carries, the weight that he carries, and everything that goes on with the quarterback position. I do see a situation like James does where he could get traded in the offseason. I mean, the NFL is kind of taking on the face of the NBA, where the players are kind of holding a lot of control of what they want to do. I just hope it doesn't turn into like a super teams kind of thing where one team's going to be completely stacked over the other. I don't think it'll affect too much of his fantasy production. At the end of the day, he is a ball player. He does want to succeed. It's in his best interest to succeed. It's in his best interest to put up big numbers and be the guy that we know he can be. The drama's definitely not over. It's tempered for now. If the Seahawks do come out slow from the start of the season, there is definitely going to be either a coaching hot seat or there's going to be rumors from inside the dressing room that Russell Wilson is not happy and ultimately he's going to want out again. Yeah. We all know where there's smoke, there's fire, right? The age-old adage. So I definitely see something happening, but next season, nothing now. Or
have you heard the rumor already that him and Carroll are already not at the same level right now? Carroll wants to run the ball and Russ wants to cook, and they're not gonna. This looks like he's gonna run the ball more than they're gonna cook. So there's already,
as they should though. Yeah, right? They should. I mean, when you break down, I don't have the numbers in front of me. Well, there's numbers that go against letting Russ cook. Yes, he does have the abilities to be a top QB in the league, but if you really break down the numbers, I'll try to get him next time, or I'll try to put up something on our socials to show you guys what I'm talking about. But there are numbers that go against that argument of letting Russ cook. Seattle is built and was always built to be a running team. It's just unfortunate last year they lost Chris Carson for a bit, and they lost that dynamic. That dynamic. They lost that look of what their offense is. So, and then he struggled. He struggled in the second half.
I think the problem all those is he liked cooking. He liked throwing, and he likes to throw a lot. And I think he wants to keep it up because he's trying to prove that he is that quarterback that can do all those other things too, and he doesn't get that chance.
He wants to go down as one of the greatest. I'm definitely. But even last year, James, me and you had the conversation of should I drop Russell, hoping that my opponent in the playoffs picks him up so I can play against
I told two people to do it, and they should have. If they did, they would have won and went to the finals, and they didn't listen to me. I know.
You weren't doing that 2 years ago. You weren't thinking of that. You were trying to trade for Russell to make a push into the postseason. You weren't trying to think of these elaborate strategies of, should I drop Russell hoping that my opponent picks him up so I can play against them so my opponent is hurt more with Wilson on his roster, right? So I definitely think he turns it around. I definitely think that he keeps his stature as a top 5 fantasy QB.
That's our show for the night, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Make sure to watch our other episodes wherever you stream your podcasts and on YouTube as well. And be sure to follow us on our social medias as we have even more content for you to help you win your fantasy football seasons. You can find us on Instagram at The Option Podcast, on Twitter at The Option Pod, and on TikTok at The Option Fantasy Football. Thank you for coming out. Have a good night. We'll see you next time.
Deuces.
Ciao.
Fantasy football is about choices. Will it be James's expertise or Chris's insight? The choice is in your hands. We give you the option.